Okay, I'm back in my space. I know this room missed me. Oh, it's toasty in here, and I'll admit I have a very small basket of laundry that is super, super, super low maintenance, and I'm very glad that it didn't stink up my place. Yeah, we're so back, Boston, baby. She see money, not the real me. I look like I'm the man. Ooh, yeah, ooh, ooh. Happy New Year. I wanted to make a pep talk mainly for myself before my upcoming histology remedial practical because I was 2 points. They gave us a minimum and I was 2 points short. But at least I know some people who'll be in that room with me soon. Or I had expectations of what was going to be on the final practical, and I think I was mostly right. And honestly, I think it was, well, hematopoiesis that got me. It was also a lab I wasn't really invested in. That's on me. Yeah, and I think my lab group was really solid, and we had productive conversations, and we hung out a couple times outside of lab, so that's pretty nice, and I'm grateful for that. And I really think that our study sessions outside of class for histology or even biochemistry, another course that was taken in the fall, those sessions were really helpful in solidifying topics and drawing connections and thinking of fun ways to remember things. All right, so the second thing after identifying labs that I was weak in or labs I totally forgot about after going through most of these drawing exercises was going through two very bulky TA review sessions, which was for the midterm and the final, because this remedial practical is cumulative. I know, a very scary word. And essentially, well, the first part was about laying the foundation, types of cells, the structure of cells, connective tissue types, and then the second half was systems. So the second half, it applies that foundation but in a systemic context. So yeah, so going through those slides like on my own this time and not being lost during the actual, I really wish that I acted more on this advice that a TA said to get ahead in histology. So this a TA's yeah, so there was one piece of advice from a TA that so yeah, so there advice one huge piece of advice from a histology TA to get ahead of other students and also be better prepared for the final was to make a game every day out of this set of microscope slides called the master slide deck, which has hundreds of slides that were not presented in our labs. And so the TA said, just spend 10 to 15 minutes just annotating or going through a handful of these slides and identifying structures, making your own little annotations, and seeing if you can identify the organ that is in the slide. I did make reminders to myself. I called it Wheel of Slides. And even though I got those reminders every day, I did not keep up with it after, let's say, a few weeks. And I really wish that I did because I really feel it would have pushed me to, one, spend more time looking at these slides. Don't ask me about my attitude about histology. And two, it is a form of active learning and recall with the content that was presented in lab and also apply what was shared in lecture in terms of, let's say, development or in terms of how does this pathology come to be and how can we identify that. So listen to your TAs. Listen to your TAs, even if it sounds like insane advice or menial advice. Little habits, like habit stacking, it really adds up, and this applies to other assets of your life. Let's say in finances or your well-being, and yeah, Okay, so there's that. Right. So now onto the pep talk part. I think the biggest thing that the MAMS program has instilled in all of my classmates is trusting your training and being able to justify your answers, being able to defend why you chose this answer, why you think a certain answer choice is stronger and the better answer for a question. And so, with this remedial or any exam, trust your training. Sleep well. I've seen you have everything you need to win. I've seen, I've read through everything closer this time. We've seen everything. And push through. Push through. You got this. You got this. Plus, you can't escape embryology, which was the very first lecture that we ever got in this course. So I hear my med student friends, they tell me, embryology will never leave you. You are chained for life. So, like I said earlier, that's something I gotta go through and redraw from one cell to a complex organism like you and me. Okay, so I'm sitting in an empty classroom after I just took my remedial lab practical for histology. Microscope slides, 27 questions plus a drawing exercise asking to appropriately draw certain structures in a slide. So I don't know what to think about it. I think my holiday, it was its own kind of recharge. And I also have to consider that, well, I did spend 3 days doing overviews of the semester for this remedial exam. And so in that room, I think 30 other people took the same exam as me, about an hour and a half. Okay, and was it a good mix of the systems? I think this exam, the testing experience, I had more fun with the final. Maybe it was because you spend more time invested in your preparation than you believe or you want to believe and feel like your hard work paid off. So with this exam, I just have to convince myself, I've been trying to convince myself that I've seen everything and we have all the tools we need to succeed on this. There was one question, now I'm looking at it, and it asked to identify this organ. I changed my answer. I even made a little song about it. Yeah, maybe I could put the slide in somewhere, but so the organ was for pineal gland, not half of a pituitary gland. And my little jingle was, so there's this structure called, or these little pigments, or these little pigmented areas called brain sand, also known as corpora avenacea. And so when I was doing my overview of endocrinology, which I think kind of have a soft spot for from some of the books I've been reading, and I think that unit was fun. So for pineal gland, my little jingle was brain sand in the pineal gland, brain sand in the pineal gland, corpora avenacea, corpora avenacea. When I first saw that slide on the exam, I said, wait, those things look familiar. And then I convinced myself, no, this is half of the pituitary gland. Because I saw the stalk, I saw the stem, but also I didn't really get into a flow like the final. In fact, during finals week, not even in fact, but right after the final, I was sitting in the lobby, and there was a med student that said that she just knocked out 3 remedial exams during finals week, or she said she has to come back and do 3 remedials. Histology, embryology, you can't escape that. You can't escape that. There's several testimonies about that. Yeah. In 3 days, it's just, did I really do what I could in 3 days while spending time with family, etc.? Or is it my engagement with my studies? Mindset really can make or break your studying and learning experience. I think with this course, I struggled to not struggled, but there were times where I know I wasn't invested with my lab group discussions, or I felt like time was dragging on as I was staring at these lab slides, and it's okay. It'll take some time to gamify it. But like I said, at least there were a few units that piqued my fancy, like endocrinology, maybe even cardiac or GI on the low. Mm, yeah. I thought there were going to be more urinary questions because I spent more time going over that. I think there's only one or two questions. Yeah, I have mixed feelings about this one. I know I had more fun with the final. Anyway, I'm gonna go eat lunch, or go home, make a lunch, and then I have a hockey game later tonight at least, and tomorrow. I saw my result from that remedial exam, and it is exactly what I expected. Do I feel it was a deserved grade, or I hope I'm not making excuses for myself. I know this class, setback, this one possible setback is not the end of the world, and I know it's been hard to fight the do or die mentality of such a rigorous program like this. And so right now my transcript, it says B minus, and I just have to confirm with the professor that even though I didn't meet or pass this remedial exam, I want to know, do I have to retake this course? And it's crazy. I feel guilty that I didn't feel like I disappointed myself. Um, I feel like the score, it was not reflective of my efforts, but it reflected how I felt the day that I took that exam. I don't feel sad or mad about it. I think the strategy or the preparation was really rushed, and sometimes we overestimate ourselves, or the review sessions that we have for ourselves, it's not enough. And we have to find that strength. We have to muster strength and courage to keep pushing on and do better, choose better, build better habits from now on. And I know I have a long journey ahead, and maybe this is a sign of failure is part of the equation. This could be one example in my life where failure is part of the equation. Have I ever failed a remedial? This might be the first, hopefully the only time, but life's not predictable and things happen. Okay, yeah, so that's my update on that. And I mean, it's one course, and I think the bigger display of my academic prowess or proficiency with all my courses that I take in this program is on the 7-hour exam called the MCAT, which I'm taking for the first time in the summer. Also, I came back from a birthday dinner, so that food coma is setting in. Okay. Okay, so we went to a Turkish cafe, and I got the Ibiza cake, so I'm gonna taste test this. It also started snowing and raining outside, so that was some kind of a trek home. Okay, so this is what it looks like. Okay, it's kind of smushed because I accidentally dropped it on the floor, but I was told that this has chocolate in it. So, let's see. Oh, it's very soft. It looks like a roll cake, like a Swiss roll cake. Oh my, oh my gosh, okay, let's see. This chocolate, it seems like some kind of chocolate jam, not like Nutella, but it's this sauce is kind of thick, and then it seems like it's dusted in I wonder why it's called an Ibiza cake, because this does not feel like paradise to me. I'm sorry to sleep well after a nice food coma. Happy winter 2.0!